Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by the Topoco Lodge. And if you are looking for a way to really treat someone during the holidays, take them to the Topoco Lodge. Take them for dinner or lunch at the Topoco Tavern. Take them for an overnight stay, a weekend, a full week. Suites, rooms, cabins, they've got it all. It is an experience unlike anything else here in East Tennessee, especially during Christmas time when it is decked out for the holidays. The Topoco Lodge. Okay, want to welcome in the next member of our panel, the last member of today's panel. We have Mark Pancratz right here, former Vol assistant and also former D1 basketball player. Thanks for being here. Next week, by the way, full schedule for Mark, so it'll be more than just one segment. Let's take a look at the week that was for Tennessee. The home game against Chattanooga, it's kind of ugly. It looked like they had their mind on other things. Then they go to Florida State. Well, it's a neutral site, but they go down to Florida, Niceville, Florida. They lose to Florida State in a close game. They come back the next night and beat Virginia Commonwealth in a buzzer-beating game shot by Lamonte Turner. Tell me, first of all, what did you learn about Tennessee's offense this week?
Well, we obviously have some inconsistencies. You're going to have that with more guard play. We've been accustomed to having guys on the inside with Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield that you can throw the ball inside to and release pressure. And then in your ball screen action, we had guys that were rolling that would attract defense. We don't have that right now. And so offensively, we were exposed and getting sped up. We've got one main ball handler that can get by somebody and try to make a play for somebody else in Lamonte, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the guard play of being able to make plays for other people against better opponents, against length, we struggled against. And our best offense is our motion offense when we're screening bodies and moving the basketball side to side, as opposed to what we got caught up in a little bit yesterday but won the game in high ball screen. That's not our best offensive basketball.
All right. What did you learn about this team defensively?
Well, you looked at those points up there. It reminds me of what becomes a good Virginia team. You know, you watch Virginia, who just won the national championship. Great guard play, but their defense is their foundation. We can guard the basketball one-on-one. A lot of it has to do with our agility, but really it's our length. Even with Gaines and Bowden, we've got the ability to help recover and keep guys out of the paint. The question is can we rebound? And if we can rebound after a good 30, 25 seconds of defense, we've got a chance to be a really good basketball team, even with an offense that's not as good as last year.
All I heard there was Tennessee's going to win the national championship like Virginia. Okay. Let's talk about Lamonte Turner. Let's put up his numbers from this week. It's kind of a weird week. Against Chattanooga, you look at the points, but 12 assists to 1 turnover. That's pretty strong. And then you go to the tournament, and to be fair, this was like a mini regional. I mean, if you looked in March and saw Tennessee, Florida State, Purdue, and VCU, you're not going to be surprised. I mean, that would look like a regional. So they're playing good teams. 9 assists against 13 turnovers. That's not what you're looking for. Your thoughts on Turner's play?
The lack of bench is the biggest hindrance to Lamonte's development. You saw how Jordan Bone was able to grow. The bench teaches you more than anything else. And to not have a backup true point guard to be able, when you're struggling a little bit, say, hey, man, take a minute out, get your mind right, and then get back in there. It's where this snowballs. When things are really good, obviously the opponent wasn't as great in Chattanooga. He has 12 assists, 1 turnover. When it's better opponents and he kind of goes downhill, we don't have a backup right now. And so he's like a Russell Westbrook in the NBA, where he's more of a playmaker. He's not a true point guard. He is full go all the time, both ends of the floor, and that's what you love about him. Ice water in the veins, wants the big shot, but he's also got to know how to get other guys involved and control tempo as a point guard.
I thought that was one of the interesting things in a 24-hour period. It went from, he was 4 of 14 against Florida State, and people are, why are you shooting so much? Stop shooting. Why do you keep shooting? The next night, 5 of 14, but that 5th one was the game winner, and the response is, never doubted him for a second. What a shooter. I knew this guy would hit it. That was goat to hero in 24 hours for Lamonte Turner.
But it goes back to your last segment, too, about like with Garantano. Unless you've been in those situations, for a guy to be able to, the highs and lows and the pressure, how much these kids really do care, and to keep battling within a game and to be able to knock down a game-winning shot, and for coaches to keep calling their number, it shows that we as fans, we're not in there with them in the locker room. We don't know exactly what's going on, that these guys can have the confidence to stay Lamonte needs a tip of the cap to him after making that big shot.
Well, in terms of getting another point guard, everybody's going to be looking at the kid they're bringing in, the Uruguayan, who's going to come in January. And as we said last week, it's not likely that he's going to come in and be an impact player right away. But certainly, even just behind the scenes, he should be a help.
Yeah,
Turner.
And even before that, right? Josiah James, he needs to step up. He's a guy that's been playing the backup point guard position when Lamonte is out for his 5, 6, 8 minutes a game. He's a guy that's got to get better. There's times when even his passes, they're just a little late, and he's a guy that's got the ability to really grow. Made a big three yesterday where he's been struggling. But as a point guard, he's got to get better at facilitating.
I know a lot of folks thought he was going to walk right in and look like one of Kentucky's guys, and what always stands out to me is Kentucky's guys look that way because there's five stars on the floor with them. I mean, there's 5 of them out there together. This guy's having to come in and mesh with more of a veteran team and find his way. I just wonder how comfortable he is at this point.
Well, it also is the fact that, for a Kentucky example, when you turn over the roster, just like Fulkerson,
Right.
Fulkerson's a little bit better player this year, but there's also a ton more opportunity for him. So just by opportunity, he's going to have more points, more rebounds. Josiah's just got to get more into the flow of the game and have that confidence to be aggressive, because I think, unlike Lamonte needs to pull it back a little bit at times, whereas Josiah needs to speed it up and be more aggressive.
Very good. Mark Pancratz, thank you very much. We'll see you over here for a full show next week. Really work you.
Thank you.
All right, we got football recruiting next week. We got football next week, and then a whole lot of basketball next week. When we come back, who won our pick segment? I don't think anyone knew what they were doing last week when they were making their predictions and their bets, but somebody won, and we'll hand that out. But also, we're going to make our early predictions. Last year, on the last show of the football season, we predicted the record for this year. That's the one when I got it right, and then I changed it over the summer and got it wrong. We're going to make our predictions for 2020, and we're going to look at that schedule next on the Sports Source.
Hey, when you're away from home, catch us on Facebook Live, our YouTube channel, or on sportsource.tv.
Let's do it.
This is the Sports Source.